Next week, Tuesday, May 23rd, the annual town hall meeting in Battle Creek. And here to talk about what the focus will be this time around is our City Commissioner, Lynn Ward Gray. Hi, Lynn.
Hello. How are you doing?
Great.
Thanks for
being
having
here.
me. And Marcie, we appreciate it.
We're glad you're here today. Marcie Gillette is here, too, Community Services Director at the City of Battle Creek. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us today. So the town hall meeting this time, Lynn, focuses on exactly what?
Housing in Battle Creek, because there's no place like home.
Yeah.
I did not bring my, sequined red slippers this morning, but we do have a lot of good information to pass on Tuesday. We really encourage the entire city to come out. Now, I hosted, I'm in Ward 2, but this is really for the entire city. So if you seek information about housing in Battle Creek, this is the place to be.
And what angle in particular are you expecting here? Are we talking about folks who are trying to buy homes or are worried about home ownership issues? Or are we talking about landlords and rentals?
Man.
All of it, huh?
All of that. You covered, because that's housing in Battle Creek.
Well, right.
And we have really good resource material. We're going to go through a scenario. I don't know where we came up with Grandma J, but Grandma J is going to go through a whole lot of stuff, from buying a home to her grandkids are living in one of her homes to now she's got to think about transferring that asset. What does she do?
Wow.
So we are covering it all, and really glad to have a lot of the city staff with me on this one. Marcie's a newbie to the town hall. I just realized that. This is her first one. And then we also will have a local attorney, Elisa Parker, who's going to help us with trusts and wills and just estate planning 101 real quick. Because we only have an hour and a half, but we are going to cover an awful lot of information. And my friends at the Battle Creek Area Association of Realtors will be there, and they'll just kind of give a quick overview of housing stock in Battle Creek, as well as, we know that fair housing study came out. It wasn't too favorable regarding African Americans in our city, so they're just going to kind of give an update of some of the things they're working on, and Chris Lucier is going to also touch on that as well, as far as some of the things he's working on, as far as just community education around that issue. And then we also have the Calhoun County Land Bank that's going to join us. That's going to just talk about Transfer This Home and some of the things that they're doing around housing in Battle Creek.
All right, and in a moment, Marcie will talk to us a little bit about how the Community Services Department works as it relates to these issues, and we'll talk about that part of it coming up in just a moment on 95.3 WBCK. Annual Town Hall meeting for Battle Creek City residents who may be concerned about issues of housing. This will take place next Tuesday, May 23rd, 6:30 to 8 p.m., and that will be at the Second Missionary Baptist Church, 485 North Washington in Battle Creek. City Commissioner Lynn Ward Gray is here today to talk about that. And Marcie Gillette, Community Services Director in Battle Creek, will be one of the 5 other participants who will be answering questions and helping folks on Tuesday. So, Marcie, how does the Community Services Department connect as it relates to issues of housing?
Sure. So the Community Services Department is really about people and places. It's made up of 4 different divisions, so community development, code compliance, inspections, and also planning and zoning. Okay. So you can imagine this is right up our alley. Right. So we're very fortunate to be a part of this town hall that, as Lynn mentioned, isn't about a certain geography within our community, but our entire geography. So specific to, let's use one of the divisions, code compliance. Code compliance is about property maintenance. From an exterior standpoint, every 3 years, we actually touch and lay eyes on the exterior of people's properties. We want to ensure that Battle Creek is a beautiful place where people want to live, that properties are being maintained and well cared for. If left to deteriorate, you can imagine that has an effect on property conditions. It has effect on perceptions. We know that there's a connection between property conditions and crime. So it really is a hub for a lot of how we perceive our community to be. So in addition to the exterior things, the Code Compliance Division does the interior side of things. So Lynn had mentioned, what do you do when you are no longer going to live in your property and someone else is going to? Well, in the city of Battle Creek, we need to register that property as a rental. We want to ensure that whoever's living in that home is living in a safe environment. So we do interior and exterior inspections. And those permits are good for 3 or 6 years, depending on the condition of the property. So helping people understand what that process looks like, how often, what are the things that we're looking for when we actually come into your home. From an inspections standpoint, which is our trades. So these would be the code requirements that come down from the state level. That would be your electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and building. So not unlike many communities, we have vacant or abandoned properties in our community that are currently sitting there. And we want to ensure that when those properties are being put back into productive use, that they meet the minor minimum repair requirements of state codes so that people are moving into safe structures. And so if there is a property that is in vacant abandoned, what does that mean? What should your first, inquiry be with the city? Making contact with our department and saying, hey, do you have an idea of what those current violations are so that they have a clear understanding before making that investment as to what's going to need to be done,
right.
How to transfer property, your principal exemption from an assessor's standpoint. If you live in a property and it's your primary residence, you want to make sure that you have your principal residence exemption at 100%, which affects the calculation of your tax percentage. For your property taxes. So just helping people understand how to use their properties in a way that they want to, but in a way that they understand what's required so there's no surprises when the time comes.
We hear a lot about code compliance and code enforcement. I know you do, and Lynn probably does too, from residents. What's the number one concern people have as it relates to that?
I think for many people throughout the entire community, there is value placed on code compliance. We all as residents want to live in a community that's well maintained. That's a beautiful place to live. That's a place that when you get off work, you want to come home to. And I think for many residents, it's not about the fact that they may have to make repairs to their property, but oftentimes it's resources for people. And not that they don't want to do it, but how can I do it? Because maybe I don't have the resources right now to be able to make those improvements. And so helping residents tap into either city resources or community resources to help bridge those financial gaps that they may have to making those repairs.
So this is part of the discussion, Lynn, right? So somebody listening now who has these kinds of concerns can come to this session.
Absolutely. I mean, we have that hour and a half, but all of these individuals who are participants will be available afterwards, be very accessible. They're accessible now, but we're just trying to highlight that. And we really want to thank our friends over at Access Vision who will be videotaping it. So it'll be the Keeping You Informed episode for the month of June. So if you miss it, if we have a crowding problem, which I would love to have, anyone will be able to watch it on Access Vision Channel 17 at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays in June.
All right. This is the annual town hall meeting that takes place next Tuesday. We'll again repeat where and when so you can participate in that if you wish to, and that's coming up in a moment on 95.3 WBCK. We're here with City Commissioner Lynn Ward Gray and Marcie Gillette, Community Services Director at the City of Battle Creek. Town Hall meeting next week, Tuesday, May 23rd, 6:30 to 8 p.m., Second Missionary Baptist Church, Washington Avenue. And in the spirit of keeping you informed, that's exactly what this is about, keeping you informed about issues of housing. So Marcie will be there, as well as her colleague, Chris Lucier from the Community Development Department, the city attorney, as well as a legal services attorney, and the city assessor will all be participating in this. So if you have housing questions or concerns, this would be an opportunity for you to step out and talk about that. This is free, right, Lynn?
Free and open to the public. There's light refreshments that will be available, and child care will be provided.
Okay. Marcie, you talked for a moment there about code compliance and trying to keep up with that and resources that might be available for folks who are facing a code violation but don't have the resources to try and fix that. What are some of the examples of that?
So the city of Battle Creek has a minor home repair program. And this programming allows individuals who own their property, occupy their property as a primary residence, have their taxes paid up and current with insurance to apply for lending to be able to make repairs to their property. So while the city has, this has been a very long-standing program that the city has offered, one of the very new exciting things that we've just rolled out this last week is our paint voucher program. So paint voucher programs, have been in existence throughout decades. It has been a very, very long time since the city has explored doing anything like this. And what we've done is an amazing partnership with E-Paint here in Battle Creek. So many might not know that on Michigan Avenue, the old Habitat location, that we have a company called E-Paint. And what they do is paint recycling. So what they do is they take all of the old paint that people don't want to have that would normally go in our landfills. They then recycle that into a useful product. They have about a 20-color product line. And we have partnered with them to provide and purchase local paint for our local residents that's taking product out of our landfills, that hazardous waste. So we are fortunate that we anticipate being able to help probably about 125 households of free paint. So again, there's no income requirements. There's no ownership requirements. So this can be open to not just property owners that use it as their primary residence, but also landlords, which oftentimes that is an area that often disqualifies for many programs. So what we have to do is the resident has to come forward saying, hey, here's a need. Show us some pictures of what they'd like to paint. We determine how many gallons of paint that is. They make their selection of color that they want. We give them a city voucher. They go down to E-Paint on a designated day that they're assigned for their pickup, and they have their product. So not only are they getting the paint, but we also have kits that are a part of that. So they're going to get a roller, they're going to get a few brushes, they're going to get a paint grate, they're going to get a bucket, so that they have the materials to actually do that.
It sounds simple enough, paint as something that a lot of us deal with as homeowners, but is this one of the major code violations?
It oftentimes is, and for some people, a little bit of paint goes unnoticed, or a little bit of paint that's needed goes unnoticed, until it gets to the point where it can become overwhelming. And so we prefer with code compliance to work with individuals when maybe they have just a little bit of paint that needs to be done, because it's going to be less cost prohibitive for the owner to be able to buy materials and the time to be able to do that. So anything as small as window trim, we encourage people, come on out, pick up some paint. It doesn't have to be that your whole house needs to be painted if there's a need.
Okay. So someone's hearing this now and wants to take advantage of that. What's the first step that they should take? So
we have applications that are downtown in our code compliance office. So that would be located at City Hall, 10 North Division Street. It's Suite 117. So as you walk into City Hall, it's on the main floor, all the way at the end of the hall to the left. Okay. We have an application that's pretty much a front side of an application. So it's a very simple application. You'd want to bring in some photos of what your property looks like, what needs to be painted. And then you'll sit down with the code compliance manager, Jason Francisco, and he'll work through with you what those materials look like and set up that date for your pickup. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Well, I think it's fair to say that we probably just scratched the surface here as it relates to issues of housing. But the annual town hall meeting that will focus on housing issues will try and encompass a lot of that. So, again, it's Tuesday next, May 23rd, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Second Missionary Baptist Church, 485 North Washington in Battle Creek. No reservation needed or anything, Lynn? You can just come right on over.
Just come on over. We look forward to seeing you.
All right. Free and open to the public. Childcare provided. And you can get your questions answered and address issues of code compliance or other things. Maybe you have questions about assessments or legal issues and things. All of these things can be discussed during that time. All right. Thanks to you both for making sure we're aware of it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Commissioner Lynn Ward Gray and Marcie Gillette, City of Battle Creek.